When the world first truly noticed India Amarteifio, it felt like she appeared overnight, like a star that had suddenly decided it was time to shine. But what many people do not see is that overnight success is almost always built on years of silent discipline, quiet rejection, invisible preparation, and a belief so strong that it refuses to break even when doors close again and again. And India's journey is not just the story of a young actress landing a global role. It is the story of a girl who dared to step into rooms that were not designed with her in mind and claim her space anyway, who understood early that talent is only the beginning, but resilience is the real currency of longevity. And when she stepped into the role of young Queen Charlotte in Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton Story, she was not just playing a character. She was carrying history, expectation, scrutiny, and the weight of representation. Yet she did it with such emotional precision and quiet authority that audiences across the globe stopped scrolling, stopped talking, and simply watched. And in that stillness something powerful happened. A new generation saw itself reflected in royalty, complexity, vulnerability, ambition, and intelligence. And that is not accidental, that is earned. Because long before the cameras of Netflix were focused on her, India was already sharpening her craft, already studying movement, already understanding how silence on screen can speak louder than dialogue, already proving that youth does not mean inexperience and softness does not mean weakness. And this is what makes her rise so inspiring, because she did not try to fit into an industry mold. She expanded it. She showed that period drama does not belong to one look, one tone, one tradition. She brought depth to a genre that often risks becoming decorative. She made it emotional, human, raw, and the performance was not loud, not exaggerated, but controlled, layered, strategic, which is often far more difficult, because subtlety requires confidence, and confidence requires preparation. And preparation requires years of unseen work that no headline will ever fully capture. And before the global spotlight, she was building experience in projects like the Evermore Chronicles, learning how to hold a scene, how to react truthfully, how to transform nerves into focus, and that foundation matters, because when opportunity arrives, it does not wait for you to become ready. It tests whether you already are, and India was ready, not because she was lucky, but because she had decided long ago that she would not shrink herself to make others comfortable. And in an industry that can be brutal, fast-moving, and unforgiving, that mindset becomes armor, and what truly separates her story from many others is that she does not perform ambition loudly. She embodies it quietly, through discipline, through professionalism, through an understanding that fame is temporary, but craft is permanent. And that perspective is rare in young actors who suddenly find themselves trending worldwide. And yet she handled interviews, press tours, red carpets with composure that suggested a mind focused not on hype but on longevity. And that is what makes her rise more than a viral moment. It makes it a blueprint, because young artists watching her can see that success is not about instant validation. It is about sustained excellence, and excellence requires sacrifice, focus, rejection tolerance, and emotional maturity. And when critics praised her performance, it was not just for beauty or presence, it was for nuance, for the way she conveyed internal conflict without overplaying it, for the way she made royal responsibility feel like a personal burden rather than a costume. And that level of interpretation signals intelligence, not just talent. And intelligence in acting is what transforms roles into legacies, and her portrayal did something culturally significant as well. It challenged traditional casting expectations in historical narratives. It normalized inclusion not as a statement but as a reality. And that quiet normalization may be one of the most powerful contributions of her work, because change that feels natural lasts longer than change that feels forced. And as audiences debated, analyzed, praised, and replayed scenes, one thing became clear: India Amarteifio was not simply part of a franchise expansion. She was the emotional core of it, and when viewers feel emotionally anchored to a character, they follow the actor's journey beyond the screen. And that is how careers evolve from roles into influence. And influence, when handled wisely, becomes responsibility. And responsibility, when handled with integrity, becomes legacy. And the most Inspiring aspect of her rise is not just that she succeeded, but that she succeeded without losing softness, without losing authenticity, without becoming consumed by the noise that so often surrounds breakout stars, and that balance is rare. Because the entertainment world can amplify ego as quickly as it amplifies talent. Yet she appears grounded, thoughtful, aware of the opportunity she has been given, and determined to honor it, and that mindset suggests that this is not the peak of her story but the prologue, because actors who understand the difference between attention and impact are the ones who build careers that last decades, not seasons. And in watching her journey unfold, young dreamers are reminded that representation matters, preparation matters, patience matters, and courage matters most of all. Because stepping into a globally watched role requires more than skill, it requires emotional bravery, the courage to be criticized, compared, dissected, and still deliver. Vulnerability on screen, and vulnerability is strength disguised as softness. And India demonstrated that strength scene after scene, gaze after gaze, silence after silence, proving that sometimes the most powerful performances are not the loudest ones, but the ones that breathe. And as the industry continues to evolve, diversify, and reimagine storytelling, her presence signals a future where talent is not confined by outdated expectations. And that is why her rise feels bigger than a single show. It feels like part of a larger shift, a reminder that doors do open, that narratives do change, that new faces can redefine old traditions, and that persistence combined with preparation can place you exactly where you once only imagined standing. And in that truth lies the real inspiration of India Amarteifio's journey, not just that she became a queen on screen, but that she did so by first mastering herself behind the scenes. What makes the continued rise of India Amarteifio so compelling is not simply the scale of attention she received after Queen Charlotte. A Bridgerton Story exploded globally, but the way she transitioned from breakout performer to cultural symbol without allowing the pressure to distort her identity. Because when a young actor becomes the face of a globally streamed phenomenon, on Netflix, the industry does not slow down, it accelerates, opportunities multiply. Expectations skyrocket, comparisons intensify, and scrutiny sharpens. Yet the most powerful careers are built not on reacting emotionally to momentum, but on strategically navigating it. And India's composure during this phase reveals something deeper than talent. It reveals emotional intelligence, the understanding that fame is a wave that must be balanced on rather than chased, that visibility must be paired with discernment, and that saying yes to everything can be as dangerous as being offered nothing at all, because longevity in entertainment is not about how loudly you arrive. It is about how intentionally you evolve, and evolution requires patience. It requires refusing to be typecast even when typecasting feels safe. It requires protecting your artistic range even when audiences want to see you repeat what already worked. And this is where many rising stars lose control of their narrative. But India appears to understand that the real power lies not in being everywhere, but in being selective, in building a body of work that expands rather than narrows perception. And that mindset transforms her trajectory from a trending moment into a carefully unfolding career. Because the industry rewards novelty quickly, but respects depth over time, and depth is cultivated through craft, through continued training, through choosing roles that challenge rather than flatter, and through maintaining curiosity about storytelling itself. And when you observe her interviews and public presence, there is a noticeable steadiness, a refusal to perform personality for attention, a grounded confidence that suggests she knows who she is beyond the costumes and cameras. And that self-awareness is essential in a world where young actors are often encouraged to become brands before they have fully become themselves. And branding without identity is fragile, but identity with intention is uncheckable, and that distinction will determine whether a career flickers or burns steadily for decades. And what is especially inspiring about her ascent is how it reflects the changing face of period storytelling. Because historically, narratives set in royal or aristocratic worlds were often visually narrow, but productions connected to the Bridgerton universe have reimagined those spaces with inclusivity and modern resonance. And India's portrayal did not feel like tokenism or trend. It felt authentic, layered, earned. And authenticity is what allows audiences to emotionally invest without resistance. And when viewers emotionally invest, they become loyal. And loyalty is the foundation of sustained success, because trends fade but loyalty remains. And in that loyalty lies opportunity to influence young creatives who now see broader possibilities in genres once considered exclusive,